What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Valley Ball Podcast, talking UTRGV Vaqueros football here in their inaugural season. My name is Brian Ramos.
And I'm Ivan Palacios. Brian, a rough one last week. Just not the outcome we wanted, but definitely some good fight out there. I guess. How are we feeling heading into this new week, man?
Yeah, UTRGV Vaqueros go on the road in their first ever game against a ranked opponent, take on the number 18 ranked Lamar Cardinals, who are now up to number 15 after picking up a 23-21 win over the Vaqueros there in week 8. Vaqueros dropped to 1-2 in Southland Conference play, 5-2 overall. But as you said, Ivan, I mean, the UTRGV, they didn't play their best game, yet they had a chance to win it late. They were up with a minute left in the game against Lamar on the road. It was the Cardinals' homecoming game. Had a chance to play spoiler, and the Vaqueros had them on the ropes, man, but they just couldn't land that knockout punch, man. And it took some pretty special plays for Lamar to make it happen. Have a really good defense, and they needed some special teams magic, which we'll get into in a bit here. But man, I mean, for UTRGV to go on the road their first ever game against a ranked opponent and not only hold their own, but nearly knock off that ranked opponent, I think that's impressive. So, you never like to celebrate moral victories and stuff like that, but it's like, hey, man, there were promising signs that you can take away from this game, I think, and definitely build on that. What are your thoughts overall?
I mean, it's like you said, it's hard as to take away moral victories, but I think in year one of a program, you got to take any victory you can get, whether it's on the win column or a moral victory like that. But to hang around with a tough team with Lamar, that's really, some seasons the ball just bounces your way, and then it seems like that's been happening for Lamar all season long. I mean, not to take away from their win, heck of a performance there, but they've caught a lot of breaks this season, and a lot of, it's like you said, a lot of big time plays that went right for Lamar. And this could have easily gone the other way, but I think it's promising to see. Obviously, you don't want a loss, especially during conference. But year one, I mean, you hung around with your first ranked opponent. You were right there on the brink of an upset there, and it just shows promise for this team. And I'm sure the guys are a little disappointed in that loss, but from the outside looking in, you got to be excited as a fan to see like, man, this team's competitive, man. It's year one, and we're fighting these ranked teams and being right there with them.
Yeah, I know definitely the kind of the tone, the mood of the locker room after he talked to some of the guys after the game, and it was like, man, we should have won this one. You know what I mean? This is one we could have won. It wasn't like, oh man, we were right there when we were happy to be here and we were surprised to be here. It was no, man, these guys fully expected to go in and compete and win, and they were let down that they didn't. You know, they didn't play perfect, and yet they still had a chance to win late. And we'll get into it, man. I mean, the Vaqueros fell. They go on the road and face the Lamar Cardinals, who, like we said, are number 18 ranked team in the FCS, 6-1 overall after the win against the Vaqueros. But yeah, it was just the UTRGV fell in a 17-0 hole, and what I think the constant theme in those games against Southeastern Louisiana a few weeks ago in their conference opener, and then this past Saturday against Lamar was a slow start. And the Coach Bush said it today in his news conference. We can't have those slow starts. You just can't be kind of playing behind the eight ball, and they were in both those games, and they were in a 17-0 hole early. They go down 20-7 at the half, and then man, the Vaqueros defensively, man, they shut Lamar out for basically, I mean, 29 minutes of the second half before a 57-yard field goal by Lamar kicker Ben Woodard uh, goes through the uprights with a minute and 3 seconds left. He's a Texas Tech transfer. He hit a 53-yarder earlier in the game, also hit a 30-yarder. But I mean, Ivan, before this, if I heard correctly on the broadcast, this Ben Woodard, his career long was 42 yards. And then boom, he hits a 53-yarder in the first half to go into the locker room, and then the game winner with a minute left, 57-yarder as Lamar picks up a big win against the Vaqueros. And man, the UTRG defensively, they played well. They defense gave him a chance to win. And after the game, Coach Bush talked about it, man. He was just kind of disappointed in the overall performance of the offense, and he took ownership of it. And of course, said that the Vaqueros didn't really play well at any position across the board offensively. And there were moments, they'll these guys are their biggest critics. They'll tell you they go in and watch film and they get in the lab and they know their mistakes. And the one thing that gives me confidence is they're back in the lab and trying to get better and improve on those to make sure it doesn't happen again. So, yeah, the Vaqueros, man, I mean, so you're down 17-0. You fight back on the road, take a lead with 9 minutes to play in the fourth quarter at 21-20. So there were just signs of promise, man. Just your thoughts on the Vaqueros and kind of that back and forth effort, how they started in a hole, were able to climb out of it, then ultimately, man, I mean, they end up on the wrong side of a heartbreaker.
We mentioned it last week. The last thing you wanted to do, especially on the road against a ranked opponent, is fall into that hole. But and that's exactly what happened. But I'm still impressed by the fight and kind of the way the UTRGV still clawed its way back. You mentioned the defense. Heck of a performance. I think they had an interception that led to a touchdown. They had a muff punt, I think, too, that led to a touchdown. I mean, just standout, turnovers there that kind of brought this team back into the game. And unfortunately, they couldn't finish that game off. And sometimes, like I said, it's just a 57-yard field goal. I mean, some NFL kickers have struggled making that. So to have a college kicker come in and do that for the win, it's just impressive. But I mean, UTRGV, we've talked about it before, and it's kind of been like you said, the recurring theme here is that offense starting slow, and once again, it kind of digs them to that hole, but. It's still kind of promising to see how good this defense has been playing. I mean, you've kind of leaned on them a little more in conference play, and they've shown that they've given you the ability to win. And I think that just makes UTRGV all the more dangerous once that offense starts clicking. Because I do expect it to start clicking. I mean, you got guys like Eddie Lamar. I mean, rough game from him this last game, but he's still, has his team there and makes some plays there at the end. Nate Denny's, starting to get healthy, and those receivers, man. I mean, they got weapons, so I don't expect this slump to continue. But it is a little discouraging to see that offense, but also very encouraging to see the way that UTRGB fought back, and they could have just laid down. They go down 17-0. They could have laid down and be like, well, this one's done, but they didn't. They fought back, outscore Lamar 14-3. And like you mentioned, that defense pitched a shutout for 29 minutes there in that second half. And, you're a minute away from taking down a ranked opponent. So, and, it took a 57-yard field goal to beat you. So you got to just, leave with your head held up high after that one.
Yeah, and it was I mean defensively the Vaqueros, as you said, they recover a muff punt to set him up in the red zone, and then again Jackson Wade gets his helmet on the ball, and then Hank Philmar kind of rips it out to force another fumble and set him up inside the 5 yard line. So UTRG converts two kind of short yardage touchdowns. They're in good position to score, and then as you said. TJ Neal comes up with a big interception off a deflection for the UTRGV defense. And man, I mean, we got to talk about Jaden Haygood, man. 17 tackles, 7 solos, 10 assists, one tackle for loss, one sack. Here to lead the Vaqueros defensively. Spencer Rich, 10 total tackles, half a tackle for loss, and then TJ Neal, man, 7 tackles. The interception and the fumble recovery there on the muff punt. So big game from TJ Neal as well. But man, I mean, the Vaqueros, man, they played well. They played good enough to win. I think defensively, offensively, man. And Eddie said it this today, talking to him at practice. He took ownership, and you know what I mean, put the loss on himself. But I mean, there were. There were a bunch of spots UTRGV could have played better. A bunch of reps UTRGV uh, could have been stronger. And that was one thing that Coach Bush talked to them at practice today about. Hey, man, it's about every single rep. It's not about taking a playoff here or taking a playoff there, or maybe not feeling up for it here, not feeling up for it there. Every single rep matters, and it mattered in that game against Lamar, and it's going to matter going forward for the Vaqueros here in Southland Conference play. And man, as you kind of said earlier, Ivan, Nathan Denny returns to the lineup for the Vaqueros, and he has a big game, man. Handles 19 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Catches a couple passes for 21 yards. So it was good to see Nate Denny back there, man. I mean, he's a tough runner. He's going to fight for yardage, and yeah, he definitely gave the Vaqueros a boost. But I mean, offensively as a whole. It was definitely as Coach Bush and some of the players will say, I mean, their poorest game offensively, and they're going to be looking to bounce back moving forward. But as we said, the takeaways are, hey man, your first ever game against a ranked opponent on the road, homecoming. You should see the way the setup was. I mean, basically the Lamar student section and band is sitting on the away side bleachers, right? and the there the distance between the front row of the bleachers and the I guess the bike and where the benches are is not very much. There's not very much space. So fans are chirping the players. There were security guards standing there to make sure they were keeping it PG-13. You know what I mean, and not crossing any lines. But it was an intense environment, man, and the Vaqueros were up against it. 3 p.m. game, and man, they had a chance to win it. And I think they don't feel like, oh man, we should have won this. They feel like, hey man, we let that one get away. That was their game to win, and they let it slip away. They don't feel good just to be in that position. Now they didn't live up to their expectations, man. Their expectations were to win. They had a chance to do it, and ultimately they weren't able to get it done. And I know it's going to motivate them, these guys, to get back at it and get back to work this week, man. So, yeah, I mean, just your major takeaways. I mean, as we kind of mentioned, after they won their first Southland Conference game, it's not going to be if they can win in the South, and it's how much many can they win. And I mean, I think coming off this game against Lamar, UTRGV is definitely going to be able to make some noise there in conference play.
I mean, yeah, you said it makes some noise, and that's exactly what they've been doing. They might not have gotten the win, but they're still receiving votes in that top 25 poll, and rightfully so. I mean, they've taken it to these Southland Conference teams. They've been in every single one, it seems, and it's just it's an impressive showing. I mean, that's the easy way to put it. I mean, brand new program. You've been receiving votes for weeks now. You're right on that cusp of kind of breaking in and whatnot, and again, you never want a loss, but it's still you're showing yourself, not just yourselves, but the entire nation at the FCS level that you can compete, that you belong with some of these top dogs, despite it being year one. And they're starting to get that recognition for it. Like you said, a couple of votes there in the latest poll again. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him crack it before the end of the year. Obviously, the road's not going to get easier here. You got some tough conference opponents coming up, and even next week's is going to be tough. We'll get a little more into that matchup here in a bit. But very promising start for this program, and they're still in this. I mean, they're still very competitive, and I expect to see more competitive action down the stretch.
Yeah, and we'll get and that kind of sets us up to looking ahead at UTRGV. I mean, they're 5-2 overall, 5 games left, all conference games, and they'll return to action here in Week 9 against the defending Southern Conference champion Incarnate Word Cardinals. So it doesn't get any easier for the Vaqueros. I mean. Incarnate Word, I know they're 2-5 overall, 0-3 in Southern Conference play, but they won 3 out of the last 4 Southern Conference championships. They're as good as it gets here in Southern Conference play. So UTRGV definitely has their work cut out for them. But one thing, before we get into it, as you said, I mean, 5 more games, and the way UTRGV's Southern Conference schedule is, so the top 4 teams in the preseason poll were Incarnate Word, Stephen F. Austin, Southeastern, and Lamar. Those are 4 of UTRGV's first 5 Southland Conference games. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey man, that's a brutal stretch to open up against, and there's no way around it. You gotta face them at some point, and that just happened to be the cards that UTRGV has dealt in their inaugural season. This is the way you play them. You don't get to play Northwestern State, who not to poo-poo on them or anything, but they're kind of everybody's kind of beating up on them this year. So UTRGV, they'll finish the season with after they get through this stretch that includes Incarnate Word this week, Stephen F. Austin next week, then it's Nichols, it's McNeese, it's East Texas A&M. So it'll be interesting to see how the Vaqueros can fare in these this last, I guess, what, 5 weeks of the college football season. I definitely expect them to get in the win column at some point. You know what I mean? I don't think they're gonna lose out, and that could very well happen. You know, it's football. You got to line up. You got to play. It's any given Saturday, and anything can happen, man. So the Vaqueros got to go out and earn it, and I know they're ready to go out and prove that. Hey, man, we can play, and not only can we play, man, we let one slip away last week, and we're going to go prove it and make it right this week. So hopefully the Vaqueros can make it happen this week. As you said, Ivan, as the Vaqueros celebrate their first ever homecoming, we got the Incarnate Word Cardinals coming down to the Rio Grande Valley, 7 p.m. Saturday at Backer Stadium. Just your thoughts on that opportunity for the Vaqueros to return home first homecoming game against the defending Southland Conference champion, who may not have been winning a lot of games this year, but is a really good program that's done some really good things in the past.
Yeah, you said, I mean, this is a really good opportunity for the Vaqueros. On paper, this UIW team has struggled. Obviously you can't count them out. That there's a reason they've won these SLC championships. But I mean, offensively, this is your chance to get on track, in my opinion. This team's giving up 30 points a game. They're giving up over 350 yards a game this season. So, and we've seen what this offense can do at home. And something about that home cooking gets that offense going. So I think this is the chance for that offense to really start finding their footing once again, and before that matchup next week against Stephen F. Austin, and so offensively, I expect to see a lot more big plays. A lot more the ball moving a lot better, I would say. But like you mentioned, it's not going to be a walk in the park. This UIW squad's hungry. They haven't won a conference game this year, and that program has a lot of pride. And especially after being conference champs 3 out of the last 4 years, like you said, they're not going to come in and just lay down either. And they got some them playmakers on offense too. EJ Colson, a quarterback, he's thrown for over 1,200 yards this year and 9 touchdowns. And the offense, despite scoring only 25 points a game, I mean they're averaging almost 400 yards of offense. They're at 388.6 a game. So I think it's going to be a tough test, but this is also a really good opportunity for UTRGV. I mean they're 4-0 at home. They haven't lost this year, so homecoming week, you want to keep that going, and this is your chance to really kind of right the ship there offensively, I guess is the way to say it, and against a defense that's really struggled early on.
Yeah, it's so for UTRGV, it's an opportunity for them to kind of get right. You know what I mean? But for Incarnate Word, it's also a game for them that they got circled. Hey, man, this is a game for us to get right against UTRGV. As Coach Bush has said, everybody's circling UTRGV as a winnable game on their schedule, and that's definitely what UIW is, man, doing. They're coming to this one 2-5, 0-3 overall, and they're like, hey, man, we're the damn defending Southland Conference champs. We know how to win. Let's go into their place. First year team, they don't know what they signed up for. Let's go win. And the Vaqueros, it's an opportunity to prove, hey man, we're UTRGV Vaqueros and we're here to stay. You know what I mean? We might be the new kids on the block. We can play some volleyball, man. I mean, this is a good opportunity for the Vaqueros to host the defending Southland Conference champions here at home. It's going to be another sellout crowd, the fifth straight to open the inaugural season for the Vaqueros. So it'll be all hands on deck. Eddie Lee Marburger said it today, man. We need everybody out there, everybody showing support. So, man, just looking forward to seeing what the home crowd looks like as UTRGV football plays its first ever homecoming game. But yeah, as you said, Ivan, I mean, Incarnate Word, man. I mean, they're really good. They've played six of their seven opponents have been FCS opponents. Their one FBS game was against UTSA. They lost that one 48-20 in week 3, or excuse me, in week 2, because Incarnate Word, they actually played a week 0 game against Nichols. So they opened up Southland Conference play early in week 0, August 23rd. That seems like generations ago. And then they jumped into non-conference play before jumping back into Southland Conference play. So they lost that game at Nichols 20-6, and then they beat Eastern Washington University 31-21 at home. On the road, they lost to Northern Arizona University 31-23. Then they bounce back and pick up a big win over Abilene Christian University 38-7 on September 27th. And then Stephen F. Austin, they lose that one at home, 31-17 against Stephen F. Austin, who's doing really good things this year as well. And then had their bye week, as the Vaqueros did in week 7, and they returned to the field, returned to play last week in week 8, and they lost a shootout against East Texas A&M University, 52-45. So, and Ivan, I know they were up big in that one, and then before East Texas A&M comes storming back late there to kind of steal that game. So, yeah, Incarnate Word, I expect them to, I mean, come out swinging. You know, to put it plainly, man, they're going to come out wanting to send a statement to UTRGV. Okay, you guys may be the new kids and this nice story and all, but we're the defending Southland Conference champs, and we're hungry for one because things haven't been going our way. And the Vaqueros, man, it's a good opportunity to prove all those naysayers who say, oh, well, yeah, this is what they did against this team and this is what they did against that team. It's like, hey, man, the Southland Conference champs are coming into your house first homecoming game ever, inaugural season. You guys know you can play some ball. You guys did it last week against Lamar. Should have had that one. Posted for over 450 yards of offense against Southeastern Louisiana, who is, in my opinion, probably the best team in the South End this year. So the Vaqueros, man, they're gonna have to ball out this week, man. They're gonna have to play a really good game because that they're I know a lot of these guys have college experience before, played in places, but as a whole, this is an inexperienced team. They're only 7 games into the season. They've only been with each other for a few months, as maybe since the longest have been together for over a year, but they've only been playing games now for 7 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see what the Vaqueros can look like, what they can piece together, and how they can bounce back against a really tough Incarnate Word squad. So, Ivan, your thoughts on that opportunity to play in front of the home fans back at Vaquer Stadium, and what homecoming could look like for the Vaqueros, their first ever game, and start building this tradition, and you hope it starts out as a winning tradition as well.
Yeah, man, something about playing at home for these Vaqueros, they just look like a different team out there. I don't know if it's just the fans, the energy, but I mean, it should be an exciting one, not just because of the game, but because of all the festivities. You talk about starting that tradition, it's a new program, and you kind of want to build that tradition and start that tradition off on a good foot right there with the win. And like I mentioned, it's a good thing. I think a good opportunity for Eddie Lee and this offense to get back on track. He hasn't gone over 200 yards since Southeastern Louisiana, but I think he's more than capable and ready for that. I mean, and this team is just as UIW said they're hungry. This UTRGV is hungry, to prove people wrong on their first year. I think a lot of people expected 0 and 12 or all these things, but so I think every loss just hurts a little more when because you hear those haters come out of the woodwork. You hear these people kind of just talk and but I think it's a good opportunity for UTRGV to kind of just not only start that tradition but send a message to the rest of the SLC, like, hey, yeah, UIW is not having the greatest year, but they're a reason they're one of the top programs there. So if you can beat a UIW team on your homecoming night, whether they're 0 and 10 or whatever, it doesn't matter. That program's established. They've been really good for years now, and I think it's a good opportunity just to kind of keep building off what's already been such a strong year for UTRGV and kind of continue that home winning streak. I mean, 4-0 at home, man. I mean, let's keep that home cooking and keep rolling as conference play starts really winding down here.
Yeah, and for the Vaqueros, man, I mean, there's on the coaching staff, they got plenty of ties to Incarnate Word. Of course, Gunnar Henderson, the former Mackay receiver, played at Incarnate Word, and then defensive coordinator Brian Gamble was defensive coordinator there at Incarnate Word. Quarterbacks coach Mike Schultz was the offensive coordinator at Incarnate Word. Coach Barella was also there at Incarnate Word. So, yeah, the connections run deep, and I know Coach Bush talked about it or earlier that when UTRGV was in the preparation and building phase, Incarnate Word opened their doors for UTRGV and the coaching staff to go check out and go to an Incarnate Word game and just see how everything operates. So you know what I mean? It's no, I know him and Coach Kill, Coach Bush and Coach Kill have a good relationship, working relationship. So that's why, you know what I mean? They allow them to come in there and check how Incarnate Word does things. And they're at the top of the South End Conference. So that what better way to, you know what I mean, figure out how to put yourself in that conversation than to learn. And they did firsthand from Incarnate Word. And now they'll be on the opposite sidelines of each other. So it'll be interesting to see what this looks like here in Week 9. UTRGV Vaqueros, the Incarnate Word Cardinals, 7 p.m. Saturday at Vaquer Stadium in Edinburgh. It's going to be rocking, man. You know what, like you said, Ivan, there's something about that music, man, that Tejano music, that text, once it comes on, man, you can't stop the Vaqueros, man. You know what I mean? It's hard to get some Tejano playing on the road in those road stadiums. But once you come down to the valley, you better be ready for it. And you know that away team's going to be dancing too. Uh,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, man, it should be a fun environment, man. Vaqueros, um, yeah, they're let down, but they know, hey, man, we should have won that game. Now let's go out and do it. We got another opportunity this week, homecoming, defending South End Conference champs. Let's go put everybody else on notice and show them that, hey, the UTRGV Vaqueros are for real here in year one, and it's going to be a tough matchup, man. They're going to have their work cut out for them against a tough Incarnate Word squad looking to get right against UTRGV. So I'm fired up for it, man. It should be a fun one. So yeah, Ivan, anything you want to leave the people with as we get ready here? I mean, Ivan, shoot, man, we're 5 weeks left of this thing, man. I mean, this inaugural season for UTRGV football has flown by. So your thoughts on now that we got a month and change left?
Yeah, I mean, three more chances to kind to see this UTRGV in their inaugural season, and I mean, get out there is all I can say, man. It's an electric environment. I mean, we've been lucky enough to be out there a couple times. You've been out at every single one, man. You've been grinding this year, so I mean, it's just it's something, Matt, amazing to be a part of, and it's kind of bringing the valley together. And it's if you haven't gotten a chance to, you need to get out there and just really, it's like Eddie said, we need everyone out there, and this team feeds off of everyone here, and so far the valley's been feeding this team as much as they can. So it's just been exciting, man. I mean, 5 games left, like you said, the season's really flown by. I mean, before you know it, the last game of the season, senior day there on November 22nd, and just kind of laying the groundwork for what's looking to be a successful program early on, and just kind of, it's exciting to see the groundwork being laid and, being here for that inaugural season, and now just kind of, you know, riding the wave and hoping that we rally the valley till the end, man.
Yeah, you said it, Ivan. 3 more home games for the Vaqueros, 2 on the road. Take advantage of it, man. There's cool things happening here in the Rio Grande Valley. This is the Rio Grande Valley's team. You got guys from the Houston area on this UTRGV roster who, after that Houston Christian game, were saying H-Town down. They're from Houston, you know what I mean? And they're saying H-Town down. You got guys from the San Antonio area. Incarnate Word coming to town this weekend. They're saying, "Hey, I'm from that area, but I represent the Rio Grande Valley. I represent the Vaqueros." So these guys, man, they're embracing the valley, man, and the valley should embrace them. So we love it, man. It should be exciting. Another Saturday of college football here in the Rio Grande Valley. Ain't nothing like it, man. The UTRGV Vaqueros do it right. We hope to see you there. 3 more home games this season. So with that said, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Valley Ball Podcast, talking UTRGV Vaqueros football. We'll catch you next time.